Shall I start? Hello.
Yes, feel free.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm Abhineet and I did my master's in computer science from Sunny Buffalo in 2016 and I work with eBay. Okay, and today I'll be presenting the review of this paper in brief, exploiting commutativity for practical fast replication by Seo and John, and both of them are part of Stanford University. Yeah. So this paper basically tries to optimize the replication. Um, so if we take the traditional replication, that first the client sends the uh, request to the master, and the master then sends the replication request to the replica. So that is minimum like 2 RTT. So this paper proposes a mechanism to reduce the round trip communication time. So by and the main main like points they try to like which motivates this work is like the piggybacking of the replication with operation and how to achieve that. So they try to do that by using whether the operations are commutative among each other or not. So we'll see all this in detail in later slides. So this is the layout of the consistent unordered replication which this paper proposes. So this is the client which sends a request to master and the witness. So master is the usual master of the cluster, and witness is actually certain other servers which also accept the request from client, but they do not like perform the operation, they just save the operations. So here they, and then once master and witness, both of them accept the request from the client, then master sends a async request to the backup. So if a client sends, suppose, an operation to master, RPC to master, the master can return the response immediately without without syncing it to the backup. Okay, and so yeah, and then this, what are these two are the like main properties of curve here, that they promise to have high availability and high consistency. So we'll go in detail about each blocks which we saw in that previous diagram. So first is the witness. So the witness actually accepts all the operation from the client and it guarantees durability of the operation. And witness accepts a new record RPC from client only if the new operation is commutative with all the operations that are currently saved in the witness. So if the new operation which has come from the client is not commutative with all other operation which witness has saved in the past, so it will reject the request. So and each witness operates independently. So witnesses do not need to sync among each other or replicate among each other. Um, it is just fine for a witness to operate on its own. Then master. Master in CARP is generally more or less similar to what we have master in general master slave configuration. The few things it does extra is master in curve generally responds back to client before syncing to backups. So the client can receive the results of update RPC within one RTT. So if you see this diagram, so there are two parts, synced to backups and unsynced part. So what it does is, if an operation, if it receives an operation and if it has a list of already some unsynced operation which is there, which master has not synced with its replicas. So it compares that if the new operation is commutative with the backlog operations. If it is not, so first it syncs all the operations, backlog operations, to the replica, and then it performs the new operation. So this is the feature this master has. So that is in, like, minimum it will take one RTT, but in case it syncs, it will take more. Okay. So yeah, this is what this slide says, that to prevent inconsistency, a master must sync before responding if the operation is not commutative. And recovery mechanism. So as this paper says that we have high availability, they give this curve gives high availability and high consistency. So we'll see both how both are achieved. So recovery mechanism. So new master restores data from the backup. So in case the master fails, so new master will be selected, and the new master will restore the data from the backup. And in that case, witness plays a pivotal role. So all the operation is replayed from a witness. And then this witness cannot accept any traffic when the replay is going on. So, and after the witness is after the replay is complete, so witness is no more up to date to all the operations. So it is like no more useful. So that witness can be used by some other master uh, as a fresh witness. So that is how recovery mechanism works. Then how read works here. So read from, so there are two provisions, either to read from master or either to read from the replica. So if clients can read directly from the replica, a master must check if a read operation commutes with all the currently unsynced operation. So if it doesn't, it is not commutative with all the currently unsynced operations. So first, then master has to sync all those operations to the replicas, and then do the read operation and return the response to the client. And how to read from the backup. So to read from the backup, client must first ask a witness whether the read operation commutes with the operation currently saved in the witness. So if the read operation is not commutative with all the unsynced with all the operations in the witness, then this means that most probably the backup are not up to date, they are stale. So client in that case will read from the master. And there is a very nice diagram here describing the read operation. So if you see here, so client R first checks with the witness, and that if the read X is commutative with all the operations. So witness response as is true, that yes, it is commutative. Then the client R proceeds and reads from the backup. Okay. In meantime, client W then writes to master and also writes to the witness here. And then after that, if you see, client R again requests the witness to check that if read X is still commutative with the operation. So witness responds otherwise, that is no, it is no more commutative because this X equals to 1 has not been synced with the backup. Okay, so in that case, client R has to check with the master, and then master returns the response to client R. And then after that, again, uh, in the meantime, this async operation happens, and this backup is synced with, sorry, not async, it will be in sync only. So master syncs the X equals to 1 write to the backup, and then after that, when a client R again requests for read X to the witness, witness replies that yes, read X is commutative with the current operations, and so the client R can go ahead and read from the backup. So now performance comparison. So I'll give some overview. So actually this paper, in this paper, they have used this CARP in two of the applications. So one is the Redis cluster, and another one is some DRAM storage. So in that case, in this case, if you see, they are saying that like they have compared each configuration, that is when it is unreplicated and when it is original f equals to 3, and when curve has been used. So what all are the changes? So and this is on y-axis is like how fraction of 1 million. Okay, so so 1 million at least takes like 12, I think it's like 15 or something for original f equals to 3 uh, replicas. And then with curve, it reduces significantly to with curve and f equals to 3, it reduces significantly to between 6 and 7. Okay, and further it further reduces as f is reducing. You see green and the blue line, and unreplicated one is obviously the least here, uh, taking the least amount latency. So, and this one shows the throughput. So if you see that for original one, f equals to 3, it's the throughput is the least, and for with curve equals to f equals to 1, uh, it it gives the maximum throughput. The most interesting one is this one, that in which case there is this um, curve faces bottleneck. So in case of the read and write, the workload is mix of read and write, and there is a skew in the read and write. So if you see here, the curve f equals to 1, throughput reduces, okay, as the skew is increased. So as it increases, it almost reaches like from 800, it reduces drastically to like I think 500. So this for this the paper mentions that it is because there are uh, unsync operations, and those have to be synced, I think, frequently, and that reduces the throughput here. Okay. Yeah, and there is another. This one was for this RAM cloud, as I said, and there is another implementation for Redis. So Redis is actually in-memory database. So people use it mostly for caching. But this and also I think it gives a provision to persist, but write consistency is not very high. But with curp it gives very high availability and very high consistency uh, with redis as well. Yeah, thank you.